A former Jacksonville youth pastor is behind bars following a nearly 3-month investigation by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office into allegations of sexual battery against a minor. Welcome to the light. Let's get into these details. Joshua Trent, shown above here, aged 42, was arrested on April 12th at a local restaurant on Normandy Boulevard. According to court records, he is being held without bond on 2 counts of felony sexual battery. Now, according to his arrest report, the case began on January 16th, 2026, when Jacksonville Sheriff's Office in Florida, the detectives received a First Coast Crime Stoppers tip alleging that he had sexually abused a victim over a period spanning, ready for this, 2016 to 2022. The alleged abuse is said to have begun when the female victim was a minor. The detectives with the Sheriff's Office Assault Unit launched a formal investigation on January 20th, 2026. Now, through social media research, investigators were able to identify and contact a witness who provided them with the victim's contact information. On that same day, investigators reached out, the victim came forward, and agreed to be interviewed. Now, I'm going to continue reporting on the story, but I do want to give a quick heads up. At the very end of this, I will let you know when I get to that point. I do have the full investigation report. You can kind of see my little screenshots here to the side of the interview and exactly what the victim has described of what Joshua Trent put her through and everything that he is alleged of doing. So it will be a trigger warning. It is very detailed, but we will go through it because I want to expose exactly what this man is being charged of. Now, continuing on to an overview of the case in totality, according to the arrest report, Joshua Trent served as a youth pastor in the Jacksonville area church where the victim and her family were members. The investigators say that Trent used his position of trust within the church to build a close and personal relationship with the victim over time. He was also employed as a vice president of a church software company that was located on Normandy Boulevard. Investigators say that the alleged abuse occurred at multiple locations, including the company's office and Trent's home. He was terminated from the software company in November of 2021, approximately 2 weeks after 2 detectives visited the business to investigate a separate matter tied to Trent involving a computer's IP address. Police say that the company's owner confirmed that Trent and the victim were frequently seen alone together in Trent's closed-door office. Investigators also say that Trent used his role within the church, combined with the victim's family circumstances, to establish what the report describes as a custodial relationship, a key legal element of the charges filed against him. Detectives say that the pattern began with seemingly innocent contact, including text messages and physical interactions during church activities, before escalating over time. So he was just using basic grooming methods. Court documents indicate that the victim was a minor with no prior sexual experience when the alleged abuse began. When the victim attempted to resist, investigators say that Trent threatened self-harm to coerce her compliance, referencing a firearm he said to carry with him regularly. According to his arrest report on January 28, 2026, the victim participated in a recorded investigative call with Trent. During this conversation, Trent made statements that detectives say confirm his awareness of and participation in specific incidents described by the victim. According to the report, he told the victim, quote, "I think about you 100% of every day. I still saved all the emails so I can go back and read them," end quote. Investigators also uncovered a prior cyber tip line report filed by Instagram on May 3rd, 2021, which flagged an account linked to Trent for child exploitation material. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office records show that the 2021 investigation was closed without criminal charges after Trent told detectives at the time that the recipient of the material was an adult with whom he had been having an affair. Investigators in the current case say that a review of the victim's birthday contradicts that claim. Police say that Trent was located on Sunday, April 12th, 2026, by detectives with the Sheriff's Office Community Problem Response Unit who had been actively searching for him with an active arrest warrant that was issued April 9th. They spotted him leaving a church on Hurlong Road. Again, this is all in Florida, and followed his black Ford Bronco to a Larry's Giant Subs on Normandy Boulevard, where he was apprehended. Trent told detectives right away that he wanted his lawyer and declined to speak with investigators. He was then transferred to the Duval County Jail. Trent went ahead and posted a $400,000 bond and was released from the Duval County Jail last Wednesday. He is due back in court on May 5th. Now, there's also a video that was found by media from something that he was interviewed about in 2020 that I am ironically going to show you. He was interviewed by Action News after he raised concerns about a video shown in Duval schools that he argued normalized the sending of new photos. And he said that he doesn't want a child in the district to think that sending photos of themselves inappropriately is the right thing to do. The irony in all of this. I want to just quickly show you this little clip right now.
The last thing I want is for a child in this district to think that sending photos of themselves inappropriately is the right thing to do.
A church spokesperson did comment saying that we are committed to supporting those involved with compassion, care, and respect for their privacy. There's also some commentary by a criminal defense attorney, Chris Carson, who kind of explained some things about this being a familiar story. He said, unfortunately, we do see a lot of these types of allegations arising in the context of church with a pastor, teachers, athletic coaches. Some of these incidents did occur in the church parking lot, and again, as mentioned in the office previously, he explained that the gap of time between the alleged crime and the reporting of the incidents is also not uncommon. He stated, quote, sometimes children are just not as open with these things. They're embarrassed or ashamed. Whenever I cover cases like this, I think my concern is always wondering if there are more victims out there. So please, if you recognize this man, his name is Joshua Trent. He is from the Jacksonville, Florida area. He is a youth pastor. He has worked in approximately 2 to 3 churches, according to his LinkedIn. If you know him, have seen him, if you recognize him in the video that I shared previously, right, you can always reach out to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. I'm now going to go into the part where I do read the criminal complaint in this case. And in this situation for this one, I am going to give a trigger warning because of the details. Again, this is a child SMECH crime charge. So the details are sensitive. They're going to be difficult to listen to. So I want to give a heads up on that. So if this is the part where you leave, thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to, please give a follow. I will be following up again. He's due in court May 5th for the next time. So we'll see what happens on that date. I will let you know. So make sure you're following for more updates on this case and many others that I do cover. And I appreciate you being here. Now, for those that are sticking around, again, if you want to hear this, I'm going to do my very best to get through this, and you have to understand, do my best to adjust verbiage to make it work for the platform that we are on to the best of my ability that I can, and to just try to get through this. Again, this is not easy content to get through, but I also think that sometimes you read through headlines or articles and you see this and you're like, okay, it's another one, right? It's another asshole. It's another cockroach. It's another one's been arrested. Something else has happened. But to understand what these people are doing to our children at another level is something else, like what they're actually doing. I don't think people truly always understand. And sometimes that truth is really incredibly hard to hear. And I'll tell you something as well. They don't want you to hear what they've done. That's the last thing they want. But I'm going to tell you what they did, because they should absolutely be exposed for the horrors that they've done to others. and for the evil that they are. So this is not going to be easy, again, like I've said, but let's get into it. So reading off of the document, it says the following narrative was provided by the original affiant. Your affiant is the detective with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, currently assigned to the Special Assault Unit for a year and a half. Your affiant has 7 years of total law enforcement experience. On January 20th, 2006 at 800 hours, your affiant conducted a sexual battery investigation that occurred between the years 2016 to 2022 between the victim and Joshua Trent, currently 42 years old. A First Coast Crime Stoppers tip was received on January 16th, 2026 at 21:35 hours, referencing the suspect who had been it's redacted. The tip advised an unknown female, later confirmed to be the victim, had been sexually abused by the suspect. After receiving the tip, I was able to obtain additional information through social media pages from the listed 2015 timeframe. I observed multiple juveniles present in photos with the suspect conducting activities associated with the church. On January 20th, 2026, I made contact with a name via telephone who I observed in many photos with the suspect and whose age was concurrent with the ages listed in the Crime Stoppers tip. The individual advised she was not a victim of the sexual abuse, but provided me with the victim's contact information due to her observing the victim and suspect to be close during that time frame. On January 20th, 2026, I made contact with the victim via telephone, who confirmed she had been sexually abused by the suspect. She came in for an interview later the same day. The victim advised she had been a member of Redacted, and when she was redacted, Joshua Trent had been hired. She slowly began to build a personal relationship with him while attending church services. The victim explained the suspect became a friend of the family and was a father figure to her while redacted, I'm assuming the father's name, was away on a tour in the military. The victim advised when she was redacted, she started to talk with the suspect more one-on-one before, during, and after church services. The suspect continued to gain access to the victim next through daily text messages. The suspect originally had a conversation in which the term, quote, Merry Christmas Eve, end quote, turned into a message she sent the suspect, Merry Christmas, and then it says blank, based on what book of the Bible she had read for her devotional that day. Then the suspect advised the victim she may give him, quote, attack hugs, which were hugs that were given in surprise. The hugs started when they were on church property, before or after church services, when there would be limited people in the building or area. These hugs slowly acclimated the victim to being more comfortable with being touched by the suspect in a way that appeared innocent to the victim at the time. These text messages and hugs were not sexual in nature, but were the beginning of an inappropriate relationship between a blank and an adult male. But the suspect, who was in custody of the redacted as a redacted at the time of these incidents. During the same time period between redacted, the victim, and redacted, to which they would redacted, as the victim's personal relationship with the suspect developed, redacted at his other job, Church Track, a church software company. Apologies, when certain things are redacted, it's hard, you can't fill in the blanks with all of it. During the interview with the victim, she then advised me of the following incidents. 1. At redacted, and the victim helped the suspect move boxes into the Church Track office. Blank was in the office area, and the victim was in the attic waiting for the suspect to bring the boxes to her to organize. The victim explained she had worn a yellow shirt and jean overall shorts. At one point during the moving of boxes, the suspect came into the attic and moved her shirt to reveal her breasts, also exposing her nipples. During the same day, the suspect pulled the victim into his office while redacted was in a different office room working. The suspect again exposed the victim's breasts, to which he used his hand to touch them and then used his mouth to SUCK on the victim's nipples. Incident number 2. At Redacted, the victim advised the suspect left Redacted on April 1st, 2018. She took a picture with the suspect and his family in front of the church's cross. At that time, she wore a yellow dress, to which the suspect had stated was a good color on the victim, and he had previously handpicked for the victim to wear via text message. Before leaving the church, the suspect advised the victim to meet him in the youth building that was completely empty. The suspect had the victim meet him in a classroom, to which he forced the victim onto the floor while laying on top of the victim. The suspect rubbed the victim's thighs and stomach underneath her dress. Incident number 3. At Redacted, the victim advised she had begun to babysit the suspect's children and would visit the suspect's family regularly. She stated anytime the suspect could get alone time with the victim, he would digitally penetrate her V. She stated this happened so often that she would become sore due to the frequency, as well as not physically desire the touch and was not naturally lubricated. The suspect first digitally penetrated her at his church track office and then at his residence. Incident number 4. At Redacted, the victim advised she was forced to perform oral on the suspect while being recorded by the suspect in a vehicle. She wore a green tank top during this incident. Incident number 5. On the victim's Redacted, the suspect took her virginity at the church track office. She stated she was on her menstrual cycle and used a tampon the day of the incident. She had been working at Redacted job, church track office, and left after she redacted. The suspect insisted she return to his office for a big surprise. When she arrived, the suspect later on the floor of his carpeted office, took her pants off, her tampon out, and forced PV intercourse. The victim advised that the suspect numerous times she did not want to have intercourse and did not have a new tampon to put back in and ended up bleeding on the carpet of the suspect's office. The victim noted that the suspect forced PV intercourse with her multiple times between Redacted in the suspect's vehicle, parked at numerous locations. During these incidents, the victim explained that she would just lay there and cry or would look out the window of the vehicle and concentrate on the leaves of the trees in a shocked state. Incident number 6. The victim advised once the suspect regularly started to have intercourse with her, she was in the suspect's truck parked behind Promise Land Church. The suspect was having PV intercourse with her in the back seat when he then attempted PA intercourse, so behind, and the victim immediately verbally advised the suspect no. The suspect again continued PA intercourse, to which he claimed his P had slipped into her A. The victim advised the intercourse was so painful that she passed out and woke up to the suspect already in the front seat of the vehicle, pulling his pants up. The victim bled from her A for multiple days after the incident and was unable to defecate. The suspect performed PA intercourse one other time with the victim on an unknown date. Incident number 7. The victim advised in 2021 the suspect had called her while she was at the Redacted library during college that the police had shown up at church track. The suspect advised her to get rid of a password-protected thumb drive that he had given her with the love letters and nude photos of him. The suspect advised the victim if the police spoke with her to say, quote, "I, the suspect, never touched you." The victim advised she finally was able to tell the suspect she no longer wished to be in contact with him and did not have any further communication with the suspect after March 2022. The victim also mentioned that the suspect was into voyeurism and had taken photos of her V and her entire body nude, which started when she was approximately, it's redacted. He would also constantly be watching porn videos and would share them with her. He would request that she find corn that interested her and send him the link to the videos via different platforms such as Instagram direct messages. She stated that he had access to all of her social media accounts and passwords. He would control anyone who messaged her or who she was friends with on the different platforms. The suspect went to the point of questioning her if a male attempted to contact her via any social media account. Anytime during any of the above referenced incidents, if the victim protested or said no in any manner, the suspect would threaten to commit self-exit. The victim explained the suspect always wore a backpack in which the suspect would carry a black firearm that was with him at all times. The victim had personally observed the firearm on multiple occasions. He also threatened the victim by saying that if she told anyone, contacted police, or told the counselor about their relationship, he would also commit self-exit. It should be noted that the victim advised the following list of sexual acts were either performed on her or she was forced to perform on the suspect. A digital penetration, a kissing, oral on the suspect, oral on the victim, PV intercourse, PA intercourse, the use of a vibrator, V penetration with a hairbrush, and the suspect had SUCKED and rubbed on her breasts. On January 28th, 2026, the victim participated in an investigative tool to which she was able to make contact with the suspect via text message and then had a telephone call with him. The following are statements from the phone call. The victim and suspect exchanged introductions, and the victim mentions that she heard the suspect's mother had recently passed away. The victim told the suspect she got married this year and that she got married to the wrong person. The suspect said, "Sorry that the victim felt that way." He then advised he had so many questions for her. The suspect asked the victim if she was safe. The victim advised she was and that she missed him and missed what they had together. The victim advised she missed being loved the way the suspect loved her. She described her time at church track and working together. She then explained the first time she had been touched by the suspect when she wore her jean overalls and yellow shirt. The suspect agreed and said it had been 3.5 years since they had seen one another. He stated that he still counted the days. So just context, obviously, this was a setup call to try to get him to admit to all of these things, right? The victim stated that she loved the suspect since she was redacted and again stated she missed him. She then asked the suspect, "Don't you miss it?" The suspect replied the following, quote, "Every day of my life, girl. I promised you I would never reach out to you again because I knew that's what you needed and that's what you were desiring at the time. And I still miss you every day. Every day I know it's 3.5 years because I count the days. I know what our last words were. I still saved all the emails so I can go back and read them no matter if they hurt or not because it was the only connection. I had to. I've been in a lot of pain and suffering since you left. I know where you live because I can't stop looking you up and thinking about you. I follow your career through social media and the internet. I am so extremely proud of you," the victim. "I think about you 100% of every day, and it's not a lie. I miss everything about you. So no, I get it. I have screamed and cried and got close to making some bad decisions due to not having you in my life anymore, because all I wanted was to reach out to you." The suspect explained that he was shocked he received a message from the victim and again stated that he missed her so much. The victim stated over the past year, she had missed their moments together from the Merry Christmas text messages to the suspect's last Easter Sunday at redacted. She remembered cleaning the attic and wanting to be alone with him, his mouth on her lips, stolen touches at his house, and attack hugs. She felt like she made the wrong choice. She remembered when he came back to redacted before her math class, and at another time the suspect brought the aloe for her sunburn and rubbed it on her back. He put an arm on her stomach in a copy room at church. The suspect replied, "Yeah," multiple times and said, "I do every day," to missing the victim and the memories that she brought up. The victim then mentioned on her redacted, the suspect had to take her tampon out of her V because she was on her period when he took her virginity. She stated again that she was reliving these moments and missed him. The suspect stated that he missed her a lot. She asked the suspect, does he think about it, their memories? He replied he thinks about it all the time and relives it in his mind daily. Every moment, something different memory. He drives around all the time and passes a lot of those places where they made their memories together, and everything floods through his mind, especially the beach. Being at the beach kills him. He then stated he knew the victim lived at the beach. Congrats, he said, buying your house is a big deal. I may be a creep, but I'm not. I think you, the victim, know better than that. The victim stated that she drove past Office Depot and she thought of the time she met the suspect at lunch. She described a video he took of her performing oral on him and while she wore her green tank top. She asked him if he still had the video, to which the suspect replied, I wish I did. He stated all he had was the Instagram thumbnail of the victim on a boat. The victim stated she thought it was so risky that Redacted was just in the other room when he got on his knees and put his mouth on her nips. The suspect said, yep, I remember how almost everything felt. Yep. He stated they had a lot of good times together. The victim continued to reiterate that she fantasizes about him and it was so special to her. The suspect asked why she reached out now. The victim said she almost did a few times and she just needed to talk to him. After a brief silence from the suspect, the victim acted as if he was going to get off the phone, and the suspect immediately told the victim she did not have to go and asked what he could do to help. The victim asked the suspect, did he not think about it as much as she did? The suspect said their whole time together was special. The victim asked about their first time together and what he did to her. The suspect replied, there is so much about you that I think about. There is so much about you that I remember. I gave so much of myself to you. I loved you. On January 29th, 2026, I met with Redacted Chris Priet, who very long redacted. He admitted the victim spent a lot of time with the suspect and the suspect's family, but had not been advised of any sexual abuse allegations during the time frame of the incidents. On February 9th, 2026, I met with the church track owner and previous employer of the suspect. He advised the suspect was hired in 2012 as a vice president for the company and was terminated in November 2021. Approximately 2 weeks before the suspect was terminated, 2 detectives came to Church Track at the old office, investigating the suspect for a possible pornographic image of a child that was tracked to a Church Track computer's IP address. Once he and the suspect had spoken with detectives, he had the suspect and the suspect's wife, Katie Trent, go to his residence. He remained present in the room when the suspect advised his wife of the investigation. The owner advised he personally remembered the victim, advised me of her first and last name, and had been aware she spent a lot of time in the office with the suspect and some of the other adult female Church Track employees. He explained in the old office off of Normandy Boulevard that the employees had individual offices with wooden doors and no windows. Therefore, when the door was closed, you were unable to see inside of any of the individual offices. The suspect and victim were seen many times going inside of the suspect's office, just the two of them, and then immediately closing the door. The owner advised that he did not personally observe any physical touching between the victim and the suspect, but explained the relationship between the victim and the suspect to be friendly in a way that would not be appropriate for a young juvenile female and an adult male, double her age, to act, but at the time did not question either about their friendliness. What is wrong with the people that surround them, right? On February 11th, 2026, I contacted Internet Crimes Against Children detective who located a cyber tip line report, which was received on May 3rd, 2021, and was investigated on August 12th, 2021. I was provided a copy of that cyber tip, the search warrant, and the search warrant from the investigation. So this is, again, that one that he went to that Church Track, right, that they were following up on that tip. The report stated that there have been 2 files uploaded. One of the files was a profile picture for the account that belonged to the suspect. A copy of the picture was provided to the report. The picture was of what appeared to be an unknown adult white male facing away from the camera with an unknown juvenile white female in a baptistery. The second file was the reported child pornography. The detective verbally advised me the picture contained a grainy image of a close-up view of an unknown child's V In a reference to this image, the reported stated the following: the content report below was identified as a match to a previously reported child sexual exploitation image on this hash list, and it was sent in Instagram direct message. On October 28th, 2021, this detective conducted an investigation into the child pornographic image and arrived at Church Track. He met with the president and presented him with an investigative subpoena. He then interviewed Joshua Trent. The suspect advised he was aware of the situation and explained that the recipient is redacted, who he had been having an affair with. The detective attempted to locate the picture on the suspect's phone with negative result, and the investigation was just closed. There were no criminal charges sought against the suspect. It should be noted that upon reviewing the birthday of the victim, which was redacted, and the date in which the cyber tip was received, the day the suspect had his interview with the detective, which was on October 28th, 2021, the victim would have just turned redacted 3 days prior. After reviewing the cyber tip, I confirmed with the victim the suspect took photos of her V starting at the age of approximately redacted. So I don't know if she was of age or not. On February 23rd, 2026, I made contact with redacted via telephone, who made the following statement. Redacted was present when the victim helped the suspect move those boxes at Church Track and saw the suspect go into the attic when the victim was located multiple times. She advised that the victim and suspect were alone in the attic together and found it to be strange. The suspect would not return with any boxes. She was able to describe the victim, who wore a yellow striped shirt with overalls, then explained that she and the victim had a cleaning company to which they would clean the Church Track building. The victim would contact the suspect to make cleaning schedules for Church Track. The individual recalled observing the victim getting Merry Christmas text messages from the suspect, not during the holiday, and believed it to be an inside joke between the two of them. She described the suspect as silly, goofy, and physically touchy, to which she stated she did not care for. She confirmed at no point did she observe the suspect touch the victim inappropriately, but the victim spent a lot of one-on-one time with the suspect. On February 25th, 2026, I made attempts to make contact with the suspect via telephone and was contacted by his lawyer on February 26th, 2026, John Rockwell, who advised that the suspect had declined to participate in an interview, so he lawyered up right away. During the above incidents listed, the suspect was introduced as a redacted from the victim's church, who she and her family were members at. The victim's parents both trusted the suspect to help guide the victim during her adolescence while in his care due to his position he held within the church. This trust and position the suspect held allowed him to assume a custodial relationship with the victim in the following circumstances, where the victim was at a church in her youth services, which was separate from the adults. The suspect was the head youth pastor in charge of her and all the other juveniles who attended the church where the victim was at Church Track. The victim was also under the suspect's supervision while she cleaned, and when at the suspect's personal residence, he assumed complete custody over her. If at any time during these three circumstances, the victim needed to be contacted by redacted or had an emergency, the suspect would have been the primary point of contact. All the individuals I spoke to in my investigation were concerned about the relationship they observed between the victim and the suspect due to how close the two appeared, along with the number of opportunities they were alone together. Again, due to the suspect being seen as a man of faith and had assumed pure intentions with this juvenile female, these concerns were overlooked. Along with the suspect's position, the victim was redacted when the suspect began his relationship with her. Based on these circumstances, the victim's redacted was not present for some time of her redacted, to which the suspect used this as an opportunity to build a relationship with an impressionable juvenile female through holding a position of trust in the church and then a confidant in her personal life. As the friendship continued to develop into a romantic relationship, the suspect took steps through text messages, hugs, building trust, and being alone with him that then led to kissing and sexual touches of her breasts. The victim had no prior sexual experiences and no assistance in how to distinguish what was considered appropriate and acceptable as the suspect became more physical with her. By the time the suspect was digitally penetrating her and had the victim performing oral on him, the suspect had become the victim's primary source of comfort, and she at that time depended on him, which based on the incident were the suspect's entire plan. When the victim became old enough to start challenging and attempting to stop the suspect's sexual advances, the suspect then advised he would commit self-exit. The suspect explained his plan in which to do so and showed the victim that he had the capability by owning the firearm. Based on these circumstances, the victim felt that she had no other option and was coerced into agreeing into any sexual acts suspects desired, even when she did not wish to participate, which was indicated not just mentally but also physically, as she would not be aroused during many of the above listed incidents. Based on the totality of the incidents, the statements from all individuals involved, and the facts and circumstances of the investigation, this fits the criteria for 2 counts of familial, custodial, sexual battery reference, digital penetration, and oral that occurred when the victim was under the age. All charges noted in the investigation are subject to the statute of limitations, which after conferring with ASA Martin have expired. These other incidents included in the affidavit are provided to show a more complete view and understanding of the manipulation that the suspect used over time and through the trust built within the relationship, which led to the familial, custodial, sexual battery charges. And the rest of the document is just citing how they had the warrant for his arrest and how they went about arresting him. So that it was a very long criminal complaint, as you can see, because of all the detail that went into their investigation, a thorough investigation. I've got to give the detective credit here. He really went into finding out everything that went on. He went into the history. He went into finding all of these people that the victim spoke about, right, that were there at the time. She explained an incident, and he even went to find the people that were there during the incident. He went back to that 2021 cyber tip report claim as well and found everything from there. There seems to be a lot of great detective work that was really done on this case. This was buttoned up. This was written well. And I've got to give kudos to them. I read through a lot of paperwork, a lot of arrest warrants, a lot of criminal complaints. This was really well done. So kudos to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office for following through on this. Even the fact that when this cyber tip even initially came in, the work that they did, there wasn't a name to this. There wasn't a person associated. He went on social media, looked through photos, found some images through detective work. Really amazing work, and what he did to try to find justice for this individual and nail down the disgusting individual shown above. You know, these cases are so much more than just the headline that comes with them, to truly understand what they have put children through. So I hope that gives a little more insight, and hopefully we can work on getting rid of these monsters. Thank you so much for tuning in. As we say here, what happens in the dark will always come to the light. If you haven't yet, please make sure that you are following me for more updates on this case and many others that I do cover. Please be safe, be kind to one another, and as always, I will see you all in the next one.